All right, so this is in there. You can see super solid. If you really want something solid tied into the structure of the dash, the Pro is the only way to go. Welcome back to Building BuiltRight. If you've been following along, you know that we picked up a 2023 Raptor a few weeks ago as a new shop build. Kind of gave you an introduction, a little bit of a tour. If you want to check that out, there'll be a link in the description. Today we're going to install our dash mount in this truck. It's been killing me to not do that already because I like to have my cell phone within view and within reach as I'm driving. So without wasting more time, let's dive into it. All right, so we're up here in the dash above the radio bezel. We've got our dash tray. This truck happens to have the center channel speaker. I'm gonna remove this rubber mat and set that aside. We're not gonna need that. And then one of the things I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tape around the bezel here because we may pry on it a little bit to remove the speaker tray. And we don't wanna be marring up the texture on this plastic on your nice new truck. We're not gonna do this necessarily like fully step-by-step like an install guide. We'll link to that in the description if you're curious. But we will show you some of the kind of tips and tricks that we like to use during installation. So I have not actually installed one of these since we originally designed it, so you'll have to bear with me a little bit here, but these are 7mm. One tip is that some people will see the fasteners holding the center channel speaker on, and they'll dive right in and remove these two. You should not need to do that. All right, so I add a little more tape here because I think the best way to pry this, if I recall correctly, is from this kind of this lip right here. So I'm gonna get under here, give it a little twist. And I'm not trying to peel it, I'm trying to kind of just pull up as much as I can. There's one of the screws. Boy, it's in there. All right.
Then it's the harness down there?
That's the harness underneath there.
One big connector.
Yep. So we just pulled this off the shelf. This is a 104061. This is a dash mount pro kit for the 2021 Plus F-150 and Raptor. Inside here we have the primary, dash mount. The Pro kit is going to come with the support plate. Then we got our hardware kit. The key difference between the Pro and the standard here is that we've got the dash structure exposed here, and we're actually going to bolt this support plate to the dash structure as opposed to just to the plastic tray. So this is one of the big things that sets apart the Pro from the standard or from other options that you might have. So the next step in the install is we basically install the support plate here as a template. Support plate's all the way in there. It's fully engaged with these 7mm screws. So the next thing I'm doing is putting some tape on the tray. The tape is going to help us transfer the pattern of those bolts that are sticking up through the support plate onto our tray here for drilling. So the tray's back in its location. I'm going to push it in to engage some of those clips so it's really located. And the front's sticking up here because I got those bolts coming through the bottom of the support plate. I'm kind of pushing down here to try and transfer that bolt pattern onto the bottom of our tray. Take a look. Let's see if Maddie's got a big tool here. All right, so you can see here I've got kind of the end of a tip of screw here, 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 right in the center, here, and here. Those are basically exactly the expected locations. I'm gonna use this pick tool just to poke through and mark where those holes are. And these ones that encounter a rib, I'll show you what I'm gonna do. All right, so I don't know if this is necessarily mandatory. Obviously we can drill a hole here really nicely. These areas where there's a little bit of a rib, I'm gonna trim some of that rib off so the drill bit comes down right through here without wandering, because we're gonna drill from this side. You're gonna drill most of it out. You don't need to worry about being too careful, except to ideally not lose a finger in the process. All right, so the hardware for this is pretty small. It can be tempting to use a really small drill bit, try and kind of thread the needle. Because we're sandwiching the support plate, it really doesn't matter. I like to drill a little bit bigger hole and just not basically worry about it. This is 3/8 inch drill bit. I'm gonna drill these 5 holes without popping through the top of Maddie's pack out here, hopefully. There's 1, 3. Before I remove the support plate and remove those bolts from it, I'm just gonna throw this in here to sanity check it and make sure we hit our marks. These bolts are sticking up here, so we're in really good shape there. I'm gonna pull this tray out, I'll pull the support plate out, and we'll do the final install. Just installing the support plate once and for all, making sure I have it pushed all the way towards the front of the truck. That'll make a lot of sense once you're in here doing this. Super solid. You know, this plastic, it's great, and for a lot of people it works fine, the plastic dash structure. But if you really want something solid tied into the structure of the dash, the Pro is the only way to go. So we're reinstalling our dash tray here. Remember to plug your center channel speaker in. If you forget, you probably won't even know it. Your sound system will just not sound as nice for as long as you own the truck.
Not next owner's gonna find out.
Speaking from experience there. Make sure you re-engage all these clips. And then the front, this front edge sometimes requires a little bit of massaging, but you see, that worked pretty well.
All right, I was gonna give you guys a property update of our neighbors, but there's more pressing news. It's in regards to our pond, and specifically Ken. Oh God, there he is. Oh, it's tragic. Our grate here is working. Whatever this isn't. A little sketchy. This is almost worth getting Matty out here with his fishing poles. We're about to go rescue Ken.
Ken? I'll go for
Yeah.
rescue mission.
Let's go check him out. Matty, did you see the coyote? He's currently in the water. Let's go get him.
My back was big in the shot or what?
Yeah, also, isn't that an issue?
Then we brought the shovel.
Right? Not too cool. He's not feeling too hot.
Now we have to add this to Maddie's dating profile. Wildlife rescuer.
Wildlife rescue.
It's all in a day's work.
Oh, what a good Samaritan.
Firefighters never off duty.
No, yeah, never off duty.
We're always out here saving lives.
Alrighty.
Even the fictitious ones.
See you, bud.
All right, so I've got our dash mount piece here. Before I go and install this in the truck, which I could do now, I'm gonna install some of my attachments on it. It's just easier to do when it's off the truck and on a workbench, so let's go do that. This is the front edge of the dash mount, so I'm gonna install a ball mount for a phone holder here. I'm gonna install one over here too. I'm gonna be a little bit intentionally ambiguous about this because of the timing, but this is a new product line that we've got here, and when we're ready for prime time, we will add a link to the description. You may have picked up on this in previous videos, but one option with this ball mount is to just put it in a slot. You can see the slot keeps it from spinning, and then we can put the bolt through the top and a nut on the bottom. Perfectly viable way to do this. The other option that we have is to use a 2-bolt plate and bolt this ball mount to that plate, and that'll lock that into place. It won't spin. The plate on the dash mount's a little bit overkill, but I'm gonna be honest, I just like looking at it, and since it's in my face, we're going with the 2-bolt plate because it's cool looking. So I'm gonna bolt this in about this location here on the dash mount, and then we'll go install it. All right, so we've got our dash mount here. We've got our 2 ball mounts for our device holders. So now that we're ready to accept device holders, configure, reconfigure, whatever, we can go ahead and get this installed. All right, so then we just got these 5 small screws to bolt the dash mount to that support plate we installed, and we'll be all set. Once you got that all in place, we're good to replace these 2 7mm screws up here near the center channel speaker, or just at the front of the tray if that's what you got. And then we'll throw the speaker cover back on and we'll be good to go. All right, so we got our dash mount installed in the truck. We put our 2 ball bases on the dash mount, so now we just need arms and device holders. I'm going to be mounting my cell phone, and then we'll mount our ICOM ID5100 here. We'll do the rest of this install another day, but I'm kind of prepped for it. Once again, these are kind of some new products that we're experimenting with. These are pre-production parts. I've got one 6-inch arm assembled here, and then I've got parts here that I'm going to assemble. This will be my cell phone. I'll experiment with where to put this. Something like that. All right, so I have this 6-inch arm is a little bit long, just for my personal taste. Let's see where a 3-inch gets us. All right, so that is the first official install of our 2023 Raptor build. We've got our dash mount installed, we've got some accessories installed, at least in a temporary configuration. We'll continue to experiment with that and share those updates with you. We'll also install the rest of that radio in a later episode. I'm looking forward to using this stuff in the truck. I'm also, before I sign off here, going to install one of our antennas because I'm tired of watching that thing flip around in the wind. We will catch you next week.